All right, we're going to the 86-inch. Now then, this thing is huge. It is heavy. So we have a little BOA bag, sandbag, that we are going to, either Dan's going to kind of hold it. The Alien Bee is all plastic construction. This thing's really heavy.
See how close.
And all that plastic housing with all that much weight coming out over it could very well snap the housing of this strobe. Now you get a $1,800 all metal housing, you know, something or another. You don't have to worry about it so much, right? Let's actually pull it, push it back. I want it further away from the light source so as much of it is lit. And we've already given one of these away, right, Craig? Is Craig around? I think we've given the 86 away. All right, fun, huh? Let's see what happens if we take this BOA bag. There we go. And watch this thing bust apart. All right, boom. That's slightly big. Can we get a tight shot? Well, look at how much this thing bows.
I'll catch it.
Right there. Yeah. F9. F9. Oh God, really? F8. 8. 8. All right. You start spending $10,000 on lighting systems, you don't have that problem. You go up, you take a shot, it's like F8, it is F8, period, done. End of story. You show up in your mom's Toyota for prom, and you get this. All right, great. So we shot that. I'm going to just keep with that. Let's take that off, and let's go straight flash and grids.
Okay.
And then we'll go beauty dish. Y'all are going to like grids. If you've never seen grids in action before, grids are awesome. So, we're just going to do a straight flash, no modifier. Tighten that down. All right, it's going to be a little bright. Don't look right at it. F13, F13, F13. All right, no modifier, just a 7-inch reflector. And we'll do one without the reflector right there, perfect. Oh, Zach didn't change his exposure. Here we go. Excellent. So that is straight. Dan, go ahead and pop that reflector off. Let's do bare bulb. .5. Our light just dropped because now instead of being kind of directed right to our subject with the reflector, it's bare bulb. It's going out through the whole room. We go down to 4.5. Perfect, right there. Good. All right. Next, let's go 40, 30, 10, or 40, 30, 20, 10. And let me see one of them. Grid spot.
Actually, let me have that one.
One of my favorite modifiers is a grid spot. Like, seriously, it's like grids. We on this one right here? All right, here we go. Grid, cut, you see through it, and then not. Dan, inside joke. Okay, sorry. So, you can see through it and not. It takes the light and constricts it. The light's coming out in this direction, out of the reflector, and then you put a grid on it, and it constricts it to a smaller area. They usually come in a set of 4. The 40 degree, the 30 degree, the 20, and the 10. That's typically the grids that you'll use most. There are some specialty grids that are like 3-degree grids. They're pretty expensive, bless you. So what do we have here? We have the 40, and we have it pointed. Now pointing a grid takes a little time, especially as you start to get into 10-degree grids. It's a very small little circle of light. I didn't take a meter reading. F11, F13, 11, 13, 13, 13. All right. I got more 13s than 11. And that's a third stop difference between those. And, you know, that's not huge. If it was changing a stop between pops, then I wouldn't even bother with these lights. All right, so there is the 40. Let's go with the 30. Yes.
I'm sure there'll probably be some questions out there about your dark sphere and how this compares with the dark sphere light.
It's the same kind of, it's about the same. We can pull the dark sphere out coming up. F10, 10, 10. Make sure it's pointing in the right direction. It is. We are now 30-degree grid at F10. 30-degree at F10. All right, next, 20. You having fun? You need a water? You need anything?
Keep drinking. They're taking care of me.
Okay, good. As long as you're taken care of. What'd you do today? Oh, God. Well, I sat
Hardest chair ever.
on the hardest chair ever, and the photographer kept saying, "Are you comfortable?" And I, yes, I'm comfortable. I can't walk, but we appreciate it so much.
I wish you had asked me.
Man, all right, that's it. It's on. F11, F11, F10. What the hell? What's going on? Shoot, they stupid. Dan, go get me a beer. I need a beer. I need to have a cigarette. I need to go kick a dog. That's what I need to do right. I just need a dog to kick. Anyone got a dog I can kick? Just, y'all go fishing? Your mom and them, they go fishing? I go fishing, man. I go fishing, man. I catch a fish, man. I love me some fish. All right, next.
What was that?
That was 11 teen.
11 team?
F10. F10.
F10.
F10. I'm just being an idiot.
I had a question about speed rings.
Okay.
What speed rings are you using for your non-Paul C buff stuff?
Well, I use the speed ring. What speed rings am I using for non-Paul C buff stuff, like the Westcott?
For like the Westcott stuff.
Westcott makes an Alien B speed ring, so I just buy theirs. It works for all of their soft boxes, their strips, and their Octabanks. One speed ring can handle. I think one speed ring handles all their modifiers. All right. Okay, so you start getting into the 10-degree grid, and you're talking about a very tiny circle of light. So getting it positioned is crucial. And what I will do is I'll typically come back behind my subject and look up at my light to make sure it's pointing at them. F9. I'm taking my meter, and this is one of those situations, not directly at camera, just a little off to an angle. F8. I got 2 F8 readings. And here we go. Excellent. So let's look real quick in Lightroom. Yes.
People on Twitter are saying that they would like to see the images in Lightroom.
Yep, here it comes.
Okay.
What I'm going to show you right here, image on the left is just the reflector, no grid. Image on the right is with the grid, 10-degree grid. Image on the left, just a straight reflector, no modifier, just straight at our subject. The next one is with the 10-degree grid. All right? Pretty big difference. Now, we still have the 10-degree in here? I love, when I'm placing my modifiers, more likely than not, it is placing them as close as possible without being inside of my frame. And if I need to make a bright environment like we're sitting here go dark, I'm using grid spots. F13. So this is 10-degree grid getting closer. F11, F11. Perfect. And Lou, you're kind of perfect, just like that. Looking over to that side, looking down just a little bit. And just lean forward just a little bit and down. Perfect, right there. That's great. Hold right there, F11. All right, so this 10 degree, let's pull up to Lightroom real quick. I'm lighting her forehead more than her face. So I'm just gonna bring that right there, perfect. Right there, I can actually see it feathering off of her forehead and back onto her face. F11. Looking at my exposure, I think I want to shoot it at F13. Right there. Good. Let's look at the two differences between these grid. All right, Dan, you can change them out. Compare. Come on. All right, picture on the left. My grid was a little too high, and the forehead was getting a little too hot. So I just brought it down a little bit to make sure that the forehead was not so hot and that her face was being lit more evenly. All right. Working with a 10 degree grid, and let's look at this again. Let's look at an 10 degree grid versus, where are we? Octabank. We start with an Octabank. We've got a 10 degree grid. We have one background, and we can do that with it. Yes, question.
Question in the chat room, kind of going back a little bit, but with your umbrellas, do you always use them with the reflector, or do you use them bare bulb as well?
I typically use them with the reflector. I've done tests with the reflector and without. I get a little more light, like about another stop of light if I have the reflector blowing into it. The only umbrella I've ever used that I really have to be careful with how I place it and how far on the shaft it is with the Alien Bee parabolic. They're silver parabolic. We would have it here had it not gone down in the wind on a location shoot. That Alien Bee 86-inch silver parabolic umbrella can be focused, and it's amazing. It has this like hot center and it just fades. It's gorgeous. And there's a reason that it's like on a 14 billion month back order. We would have one here and we called them like, hey, we're going in and out. They're like, we don't even have one. They are on such back order. They're 86, 90 bucks or something for an 86-inch parabolic. And by parabolic, an umbrella kind of focuses the light that way, but a parabolic, if it's designed correctly, will really focus the light. And it's really cool. It's like an Octabank, but with a hot center to it. We've used it on one big location job, and I cannot say enough good things about it. I really wish I had one here, but man, in the wind, we found out pretty quickly how fast it falls apart. All right, question.
Yeah, there are a number of people in chat that are asking about snoots and the differences between grids and snoots.
Right. The difference, okay, the question is the difference between a snoot and a grid. Typically what I find with the grid is it has this feathered edge where it falls highlight to shadow. And that feathered edge is it's a beautiful little feathered edge. It's a very fast feathered edge. When I snoot a flash, bringing a piece of metal or cardboard or whatever, we can actually get the cinefoil out. Can we grab that cinefoil? We'll make a homemade snoot. It's usually a harder edge between highlight and shadow. Sometimes with a snoot, I could make a smaller little circle of light if I get it in really close to my subject. But I just find the grids, that feathered edge that the grids have is different than the edge of a snoot, and I prefer the grid over a snoot. And then I have several different degrees of gridding I can go to, where a snoot is a snoot. And I'm not going to have 6 different snoots kind of thing.
So do you want to take the time now to go through some questions, or do you want to keep going?
Let's get this finished up. We've just got a couple more to do. We've got the beauty dish, all right. 22-inch Alien Bee beauty dish, the white one. I prefer the white one because that's the one I own. And the silver one came out after I purchased this, and I don't have any desire to buy another one. It's a little more specular, the silver one is, and that's F10, Beauty Dish F10, good. And Lou looking right over here, perfect, good smile, great, excellent. All right, Dan, just hold the 30-degree grid up in front of it. We have a big grid, a 30-degree grid. Let's take a look at this. 22-inch grid, pops in the lip. You want to just kind of hold that in place. Oh, well, there we go. All right, so Beauty Dish, 30-degree grid, F8. Excellent. 15-degree grid. $4.5. All right, 4.5. What's that? Sure. You want a, what do you want? You want just the panel? Scrim? Oh yeah, all right, here's the sock. I doubt we're gonna really see any difference, especially at this distance. We're not gonna see a big difference between sock versus without. All right, F8. This is Beauty Dish with the sock. F8. Boom. Takes a lot of time to do all this stuff, doesn't it? Now, a Beauty Dish, like I said yesterday, we worked with it. I love it on a boom or on an arm a little more than having it. I wouldn't work with it 5 feet away. Beauty Dish is coming in close. We'll have it with the sock. F18. All right, we don't need no F18. Come down. F9. F9. Bum, bum, ba, bum, ba, bum. We just changed it to 8th power. All right, little smile. There we go. Very nice. And now let's pull that sock off. F9 still. 2/10 of a stop brighter without the sock on at that distance. Still at F9. Or was the other one F8?
Last one was F. Reduced power was 9.
Okay. I think I shot it wrong. All right, let's put the sock back on again. We're going to see a difference on the background a little bit. Right there. Good. There we go. One thing that happened here with the sock, watch the background where the sock did make a difference in this shot. Go into Lightroom. Picture on the left is without a sock, and we're getting this little pattern of light being thrown onto the background, and that's taken care of by putting the sock on the Beauty Dish. So on the picture on the left, we have this little bit of a pattern hitting the wall, and picture on the right, that's taken care of. That's diffused that stray light and cleaned it up there on the background. And we got the Beauty Dish. It is not uncommon whatsoever for my modifier to be up in this kind of corner. Again, I use my lights so close in on my subject that they typically, it'll end up, a little corner of it, if I'm not paying attention, ends up in my shot that I have to go retouch out. Just a little edge of a softbox, or the umbrella shaft. It's a little silver, little something. What's that? Oh, shoot, it's mine. Because I bring them in really close. I like my modifiers in close as I can get them. Sometimes I need to pull them back. But if I'm shooting portrait situations, they are coming, if this is my frame right here, then they are just outside a frame, wherever they need to be, in nice and close. Question.
There's people in the Ask Room talking about you're using your light meter and it's popping your strobes, but how would you do it if it didn't have a Pocket Wizard thing built in?
That's a great question. How would I be taking a flash meter reading if my meter did not fire Pocket Wizards? Many of them have a PC port in them, so you can plug a Pocket Wizard or CyberSync or whatever you want into it, and it will fire. Is that one on? What channel are we on? 3? 3. So it will fire a Pocket Wizard through your PC port. Or you have a sync cord hooked up to your light and you plug it right into your meter and you can go in and take a reading. Another feature that these will have is a flash meter. It usually says like it has a lightning bolt with a C. For the Sekonic, it has a lightning bolt with just a lightning bolt with a C, and a lightning bolt with a T. All right, can we get a shot of that up top here? And there's some way you can turn the light on. I don't remember how. We have a shot? All right, right up top here, we have a lightning bolt with a C. That means corded. That means it's going to fire the PC port. And then the lightning bolt with the T, that means it's a transmitter, and that's firing the Pocket Wizard. So you can come in here and put it in the lightning bolt mode and press the reading button, and it is waiting to see a flash. So you hand hold your transmitter, and it says, okay, F4. So you push this is waiting to see a flash, you push your transmitter, and it gives it to you, 4.5 or whatever. So you would have your transmitter of whatever the kind that may be. You have a CyberSync, and you push this, it's waiting, and then it will see the flash and give you that reading. All right. The beauty of this Sekonic is just that it's got the Pocket Wizard built in. It comes here. It's this little guy right here. Right here. It just plugs in, and that's all the Pocket Wizard stuff. Fairy dust. All right, let's do some questions. We're going to be working on these pictures today and getting them on the blog so you can look at them. We'll have the whole list in order, and you can see them. Say, okay, I want to look at the softbox versus the umbrella, and we'll have those pictures up on the blog to look at. Question?
Yeah, from the chat room, somebody asked if you have a pre-shoot routine. Do any meditation or any kind of get yourself into the zone? Okay.
My pre-shoot routine, yeah, I'm usually walking around going, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. That's not a lie. I like to be in my studio or near my location early. I hate walking in the door and having to shoot. I like to walk in the door and I want an hour. I usually turn some music on, whatever mood. For me, when I need to get my brain kind of on one track and thinking in one way, for me, it's hip-hop. I don't know why. I'm not like I love hip-hop. It's not my favorite genre, but something about hip-hop, for me, gets all my, thoughts kind of solidified and going down one track. I listen to a lot of Marzil, and Deep Space 5 is some of my favorite stuff right now, and I've been listening to Brother Ali, and sometimes I'll go to Sage Francis, and sometimes it's got to all be Snoop Dogg, Dre, and Eminem, and it's all of that, and Jay-Z as loud as I can possibly make it. So it's loud music. I have a cup of coffee. As much as I joke around and I like to have a beer and all of that, I don't drink until the job's ending. And it's just a beer or two at the end of it. But I'm not going to sit around having drinks before my shoot. I've got to be on. And maybe my pictures would be better. I don't know. But and I want half of my gear ready to go. I want my equipment ready, cleaned. I want some of my lights on. because sometimes I need that time of putting the subject on the set, and not everything's set perfect yet, because I need that time of walking around them, talking to them getting used to being on set. So they're not going to get on a set and everything's ready. It's going to be half ready. And so I'm moving my lights, I'm talking about stuff, I'm talking with them. I am nervous before every single photo shoot. Every one. I get nervous. I get worked up. I pace the floor. I take this, I move it over there, I move it back over there, I rearrange. I rearrange the whole studio and I rearrange it back to where exactly it was when I started. My old studio manager, Eric Dixon, he would just sit there and go, all right, it's time for you to start. Why don't you put the couch over here, and then I'll move it back, and then you can move it back again, because that's what you're about to do, isn't it? Yeah, that's what I'm about to do.
The chat room's had a lot of questions about the Brawley boxes and your thoughts on those.
Okay, Brawley boxes typically is a shoot-through. It's a shoot-through umbrella with a black cover on the back. And one main thing that really helps with is the flare that a shoot-through umbrella can give you. So it's kind of flagging that light going back to the camera. Sometimes they're a little more efficient in how much power that they can use. But you really start having to like pixel peep between Brawley boxes, shoot-through umbrella. The soft lighter is like really popular right now, and I look at the light that comes out of a soft lighter going, that's gorgeous. The thing is there's 400 million modifiers in the world. There's the 45-inch umbrella, the 60-inch umbrella, the 30-inch umbrella, this size softbox, this size softbox, this size softbox. There's softboxes with a lip and softboxes that are flat on the front. There's the 4-foot octa, the 8-foot octa, the 400 million foot octa. There's 12 by 12 silks. There's 24 by 24 silks. There's flags, there's scrims, there's cutters, there's the Brawley boxes, the soft lighters, the 60-inch umbrella, the 28 and the 50 Westcott, that 7-foot octa, the strip, and grids. That's 6. That's a lot to keep up with. That'll get you covered, right? There's others that are great, and there's others that aren't. Yes, let's go with you.
Yeah, there have been quite a few people in chat who have asked if you remove the baffles in your soft boxes, or if you leave them in.
I leave the baffles in my softbox. Inside, let me grab this 4-foot real quick. Everyone doing okay back here? Good. I know we're running crazy. Put that there. All right. I have done test after test like this, what you've seen this morning. I've done this in my studio, testing. We have tested these with, you take the front cover off, and there's this thing called a baffle inside. All right? So what's happening is your light comes in here and is heading out to the front. And it needs to be as evenly diffused across the front of this box, softbox, Octabank, whatever. From this edge to this edge, it needs to be as even as possible. That's the plan. So, in order to get your light to spread in this amount of distance from where the head is to the front of it, it needs to go through a first diffusion panel. That's the baffle right here. Now this baffle has 2 kinds of diffusion material. A little thicker in the center, a little thinner on the side. So this center circle cuts light a little more than the edges do. And that again is trying to avoid a hot spot in it. Now the parabolic umbrella has a hot spot, and you pick it because it has a hot spot. You can take the baffle out and get a bit of a hot spot in the front. But I have done exactly what we've done this morning. We shoot the octa here, and then we take the front face off, and then we take the baffle out, and we take pictures and take pictures and take meter readings, and then we take it all out and we just shoot it straight with nothing. And then we put the front back on but without the middle baffle. And then I pull all these pictures up and I start zooming in and I'm pixel peeping. There's a big difference in shooting it without the baffle. There is a hot spot. I don't like it as much as that parabolic hot spot. This is where I run out of words. Like, it's that parabolic, 86-inch parabolic silver from Alien Bees. There's something to it. What? What is it? What is it? It's just, it's beautiful. It's different than my softbox. It's different than that Octa. It's different than taking the baffle out. It's different. It's this, it's a spot, and how it falls, how it feathers off the edges. It feathers differently than my other modifiers. Well, tell me what it is. It just is. Do I have to have it right now? No, you don't need to have it. You can go build a whole, you can go build a whole career off a 60-inch umbrella. And you never need all this other stuff. But typically, here's my thought, final on that question. This thing was designed to have that baffle inside and have that front cover on. And it can be kind of modified, take the cover off and do this and that and the other. I buy an Octa for that classic Octa look. I buy a softbox for that classic softbox look that usually requires baffles and so on. And I run with them by default like that. Yes. Oh, well, you've been waiting for a while.
Hi, we've had some people in the chat room wondering about how the overhead lighting is affecting your metering and what kind of lighting would you recommend for studio overhead?
Question is, how is this overhead lighting affecting me in the studio? Let's grab my meter. And is this still on? All right, I am at ISO 100. Oops, I'm not on, I'm different mode. Let me put it back to transmitter mode. All right. It says 6.3, and I am at 1/25th of a second. Can we come back in on this? A beautiful thing about this Sekonic meter. Can we see that? There's a little percentage reading at the top of this meter. I need to go. I wish there's some way to turn the back light on that. I can't remember how to do it. All right, know your gear. I usually don't need it for a video camera, all right? So it's like, well, I don't need that. I'm fine. All right, so there's a little percentage up here. And what it's telling me is that when I take this meter reading, that is the light hitting this at 1/25th of a second is 6.3 is 100% of my exposure. As I start to slow down my shutter speed to, like, let's go 1/15th of a second, it lets me know that 80% of my exposure at 1/15th of a second is going to be flash. 20% of my exposure is going to be ambient. It is letting me know what my flash to ambient ratio is. So 80% flash, 20% overhead lighting. As soon as I go up to a faster shutter speed, because shutter speed controls ambient light, right? I'm at 1/25th of a second. I am now 100% flash and 0% ambient light. If I wanted to come in here and shoot a portrait at 1/25th of a second at f2, so let's say I want to take my aperture, open it all the way up to f2, and I'm at 1/25th of a second. Remember, that's my safe sync speed, especially with Alien Bees. My flash at that point is now only 60% of my exposure. 40% of this light will be coming in on top of that. At that point, that's way too much. That's way too much overhead lighting. I need it to come down. So if we set something up today to where I want to shoot a portrait at 1.8, these lights have to come down. To answer your question, I like to keep a little bit darker of an ambient feel. So we have track lighting in our studio, and we point those tracks at the walls and stuff. And we have lots of windows, but we can pull black curtains over the windows. When you walk in, it's a little bit darker, and that way, if I want to shoot a portrait at 1.8 underneath an Octabank or whatever, I can do that without having to worry about my ambient light readings messing it up. Okay?
Thank you for that. And also, we've had some questions about what you use to hold the strip bank with the Alien Bees. Yeah.
What do I use to hold the strip bank with an Alien Bee?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the speed ring question, you answered
Okay,
that
speed
earlier.
ring.
Oh, okay.
Your traditional Octabank and softbox and strip box have a thing called a speed ring. It should be called a slow ring, and sometimes a death ring. Because putting these things together, the problem with this kind of stuff, like the Octa, you put it together, you don't want to take it apart again. And you take it apart and you're like, I am not putting that thing together again. Like, it's a pain. So this is called a speed ring, and that's the wrong name for it. And all of these little ribs of the modifier, a strip has four ribs. John, could you grab that strip bank over there? We'll look at that as well. Thank you, sir. Multitasking. All right. We take this back cover off, and there is our speed ring right there. All right, we got that? Now then, I'm going to put a little pressure on it. Pop that out, and then these will come out. And that is our speed ring. And these are made for the kind of lights that you're going to use. You have Broncolor, it's a different speed ring. You have Profoto, different speed ring. This is an Alien Bee speed ring made by Westcott so that it can snap on to an Alien Bee head. On here, we have strip, 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 and strip. And then there are a couple other markings for different modifiers that they make. We have a strip bank. I need to put the poles here, 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 and here. So these come in here. Make sure I got this lined up right. Got to bend it in. It's this third and fourth that, and that's, you've got to give that, are we on? A good bend to get in there. All right. So that's what that looks like. What's that? Yeah, sometimes it feels like you're going to snap it. And I've had old softboxes when I was assisting. There were times I'd pull one, like these big softboxes that had a whole lot of tension on them. You'd pull that first one and it would snap. And you'd have to have it away from your body and get your hand off of it as soon as it came loose, because it would come in and just, bam, smack you in the thumb, and you just curse. And you just scream, ah. You had to, like, you got art directors all around, and you're working for a photographer, and you just, everything's great.
Some questions about the differences between like an indirect octo versus a direct octo, like the one you're using.
An indirect octa versus a direct octa?
Like the Elinchromes have the light facing back into the reflector versus one facing out.
I've never used the Elinchrom Octabank, so I can't say. But the fact of the matter is, the light that's coming out of the face of it is what matters. So if the Elinchrom faces into the back and it comes out all nice and even, great. If it faces into the front and through baffles they can make it all nice and even, I bet at the end of the day you'd have to pixel peep to really see the difference between the two. I know a lot of people shoot that Elinchrom Octa. It sets up differently, and it's gorgeous. I've seen the results of it.
So there have been questions about, and this might be a little bit outside of the class, but lighting a larger area evenly with strobes. What are tips and tricks on getting that even light across a larger area?
Even light, like you're doing like a big interior?
Or a large group?
A large group. Typically a larger modifier. If I'm doing a large group, it could be up to 30 people. I'll still do it with a 60-inch umbrella. But the thing about it, it's going to always start straight up over my head. So if this is my group shot, if I'm shooting a group shot from John to Derek, here we go. That 60-inch is going to be up here, way up high, and just bringing that light down on everyone, all right? And it's going to be up high enough so that everyone who has a chin gets a shadow under it, and everyone gets light in the eyes, all right? When I'm shooting 30 people, that's typically not this editorial band shot. It's 30 people. And you want to pull off a nice shot. But when I do it for my clients, the times I have to do that, those are we need a group shot of 30 people. It's at a wedding, or it's like a quick company, here's all the technicians that work for us. And it's not for the network cable TV show where I have a $100,000 budget to work with. Give me $100,000 to work with and I can light 30 people. But it's going to take 2 days of pre-lighting, a day of shooting, and 2 days of stuff. It's a week-long job for that one picture. For those of us running and gunning, 60-inch umbrella over the head, an Alien Bee with a Vagabond battery pack, so you have plenty of power. Done.
Some people heard you talking about Cinefoil and was wondering what that was.
Sure, let's pop a reflector. Do we have a 7-inch reflector on this? Cinefoil, basically this heavy black aluminum foil, or for those of you in the UK, aluminium. And you can roll it up, you can scrunch it up, you can make, Sunday school art out of it. It's pretty rugged, but you can also just rip stuff off of it. It's kind of like the duct tape of metal. And if I want to make a snoot over a light, let's say I take this and fold it down a little bit. It's also pretty heat resistant. So if I'm getting flare from a light or I want to make a quick little snoot, I can do something like that. Right? It's called Cinefoil. You buy a whole roll of it. If I need to make this snoot smaller, there. I made it smaller. And I just need a little bit of light to poop onto something. Just bam, right there. I want to put a little bit of light on this logo of a computer that is made by a manufacturing company out of California. I can just make a Cinefoil snoot and just drop a little circle of light on there. And then when I'm done with it, I can take it off, roll it up, and stick it in a bag. Or you can fold it up into squares and it takes even less space. And then you can roll it out. Now, after a while, you're going to abuse it so much. If you need to black out some windows, you can use Cinefoil. It's pretty inexpensive. I've seen a lot of people do a lot of stuff with this. You can make a face mask. Yes.
Midge GM in the chat room wants to know if you can talk about what modifiers not to buy.
What modifiers not to buy? That's a good question. The ones you can't afford. Honestly, I know we're like that 8-foot or 7-foot Octa. But it's an Octabank because it takes an Octa $100 out of your bank. It's an $800 modifier, and if you can't afford it, don't buy it. I'd say, if you're looking at umbrellas, just go ahead and get the 60-inch. You don't need to have every single size of them. There's 5, 6 different kinds of sizes of umbrellas. There's not any that I can say don't buy that. Unless it's just cheaply, poorly made and it's going to fall apart on you in a few months, like some of the cheap eBay knockoff stuff. Sure, you can get an Octabank for $79, but is it really going to last you that long? Do you have to buy 2 of them a year? Or 1 a year that after a while that you could have just bought one that will stay with you for 10 years, So, yeah.
Speed lights, what size modifiers would be the largest you would go with a speed light?
Any.
Any?
Anyway, if I can stick a speed light in it, I'll shoot. That 50-inch softbox with a speed light, a lot of people say, oh, that's too big of a modifier for a speed light. The thing about it is light is light. Now, can you get F16 out of a speed light and a 50-inch softbox from 5 feet away? No. But you bring in that softbox with a speed light in it, and you can shoot at F2. It's beautiful. You get this big, soft, beautiful light source. You get to shoot at this really shallow depth of field. It's a gorgeous light that with the Alien B1600, I can't get f2 without neutral density filters on the lens or neutral densitying the light. So I'm not afraid to put a speed light in any if I can stick one in an Octa, I'll do it. I'll probably be shooting at 1.8. But at 1.8, that light will be gorgeous, you know. It may not spread like an Alien B inside of it or an Elinchrom or whatever would, but it'll still spit light into it, and it'll work.
We can also get adapters that'll double up speed lights inside a modifier.
Right.
Or even
you can
3 or
double
4.
speed lights up into it. Remember that as you double flash power, you gain 1 stop of light. So you have 1 speed light. You add another, you've had 1 stop of light. You need 1 more stop of light. You have to double your flash power. You go from 2 to 4. Now you have 4 speed lights. You need to double, you need 1 more stop of light. You go to 8. I'm getting a point at the watch. 1 more question, we are going on break.
Okay, we just had some people in chat wondering if you were going to talk about working with black seamless.
Working with what?
Black seamless paper?
Maybe. Hell, maybe we will.
All right.
Maybe. I mean, black seamless is white seamless. It's just dark. And you're not trying to blow it to white, and you're not trying to blow it to black because it's already black. I'm going to use black seamless if I need the floor that's the person standing on to be darker. I will. If I need everything to be red, then I will use red seamless. If I need it to be yellow, then I put a yellow seamless. If I want the floor and everything to be black, I will use black seamless. I'm still going to use softboxes, Octabanks, whatever. Probably not put any lights on the back, but maybe. But I'm not going to try to blow it to white. That's for sure.